Hi everyone, welcome to the St Albans Property Meet in August 2024. I got that right that time. And we're in beautiful St Albans. And you'll see the beautiful scenery here, one of the oldest cities in the country, a lot of history. Craig,
Yep.
one of the organisers. A lot of stuff going on, a lot of stuff entrepreneurs, especially property entrepreneurs talking about. We want to kick off with the interest rate change today.
Well,
What's
that's
going
the
on?
big news today. So the governor of the Bank of England has dropped the interest rate from 5.25% down to 5%. So it's huge news for people in property.
Huge, for just not only property, people who own their main house who've got obviously mortgages. So they're going to be feeling, hopefully, they're coming up to renewal, a little bit of benefit. I know a lot of people have been delaying it, so I guess there's a lot of benefits there. What else have you been feeling that entrepreneurs, especially property entrepreneurs, are feeling at the moment?
Well, I think there's a general enthusiasm about the way forward. Now, there's lots of debates about the Labour Party coming in, how they're going to relax some of the issues around Greenbelt to get this 1.5 million homes over the next 5 years. There's still a lot of issues over that. I've recently got planning permission on a site, but it took 11 months through planning.
Wow.
So if it's going to take like a year, so the government is saying they're going to build 1.5 million houses over 5 years. Well, the first year could just be literally getting the permission to start building. So they've got to build that 1.5 million in 4 years.
Is that total 1.5 or additional 1.5?
And no, that's total. I think it's total 1.5 million.
I thought it was additional.
But then if you look at the number of normal immigration figures into the country, there's like 600 to 700,000 pounds a year.
That's what I thought. So you've got about 600,000 people coming in. Yeah.
All the people coming in are going to be the ones taking all the houses. So we're not actually going to be in a better situation than we were.
I think that's a big jump in my opinion to say that. I think there will be some going there with, but I'm sure there's a lot of people on waiting lists. I generally think the planning whole situation, no disrespect, needs sorting out.
Yes,
but I've got bigger issues with the tax environment because everyone knows I love that topic, right?
Well,
that's going to be huge.
Lots of rumours about inheritance tax and capital gains tax, so you can get a double whammy on them. So we're waiting to see what Rachel Reeves is going to come out with at the official budget.
Good old Rachel, I'm sure she's following us because her predecessors definitely did, right? If you introduce a double taxation, my phone calls are going to increase quite a lot and everyone is going to be at the exit door leaving the country because you cannot double tax wealth at that level because the rate, people say it's about 54.4, but it's going to be actually more if you work out the calculations. They're saying that on average that may be that. So no one is going to have that kind of impact.
If people are wealthy, they've got the money to move if they want to find a better tax environment. You know, Joe Public doesn't have the money to move, but wealthy people have the ability to move somewhere else if they want to.
And I think I did a post on this, and if you haven't watched it, go and check out our LinkedIn post about millionaires leaving the country. 9,500 in 2024.
Yeah.
That was compared to the few thousand that went, and it all started in 2017. Coincidentally, when the tax policies became aggressive on the finance restriction, the changes in offshore trusts, all of this stuff, people are like, whoa, why should we own property in the United Kingdom, whether through a company or whether a structure? This is becoming a huge issue, and that's where our investments come.
The devil's in the details, so we need to really find out what is going to come out. There's lots and lots of rumours about what the future is going to be, but we need to know the detail.
So there is a paper, hopefully that helps people, on Monday 27th of July. It was released on Furnished Holiday Lets. I don't know if you read that. I did a post on this, really useful. A lot of pain coming, people. We will talk to potential people around this who are affected, but there is some opportunities. And that's what you need to concentrate on, not all the downside, what the upside is. There is some upside if you do it properly and you do it now. Because soon as it becomes a law, or when it is affected, which is going to be or implemented on 1st of April 2024 or 6th of April 2024 to 25, I should say, get my year right, then you're going to have a lot of problems. And so try doing it now. If you've got furnished holiday letting, service accommodation, get advice now. It's huge.
And if you come here, you get to meet people who are actually doing the job, you know. So there's developers here, investors, serviced accommodation. You know, we were talking to a care specialist earlier. So meet the actual people doing the job.
It's so important, and it's all about networking. What a network week we got coming up. Gotta love it.
And we've also got this month's expert is Debbie Colburn, who is a local property project manager. So she's our expert in the corner this month. So I'm sure you'll see her. By the way, the noise in the background is a load of scaffolding poles going up. So even here in St Albans, people are looking after buildings and putting up scaffolding.
Or doing a conversion. I'm sure Ranjan Bhattacharya will love that one. we've got the Ask the Expert at Say Albans Property Meet, August 2024, 25, get it right? Joking, right? We've got Debbie here. Debbie, nice meeting you.
Nice to meet you too.
And you're an expert in project management for construction.
That's right.
So a lot of entrepreneurs who are doing projects, especially developers, good target market, or people working in construction, they want someone to manage their project, you're the person they call, right?
Absolutely.
So give us the key highlights of the key things you help them with and common problems they have when they're doing developments or investing in renovations and things like this.
So it completely varies by the client. So each of my clients will come to me, they'll all have a unique set of requirements. So some will be starting from a place where they just know that they need more space in a property. Some will come with fully formed ideas, architect's plans, and know exactly what they want. So I approach all of my clients as individuals, as they are, and really look at what they need, what value they need to get out of their house, and how I can help them best. And then basically take it from there. So they can be as involved as they want to be. Some of my clients will give me the keys and say, right, I'm off on holiday, can you just take care of everything? Other clients want to be involved, they want the detail, they want to know exactly what we're doing, they want to go through it step by step. So whatever works for the client, that's exactly how I work it.
I'll unpack some value because Debbie's giving a huge amount of value there. It's about how you structure it and
Yeah.
get all the different trades involved,
Yeah.
timing, because a lot of money's lost on the timing, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
And the delays because everything is reliant, the first fix, the second fix, all the rest of it, you deal with that.
Yeah, exactly.
So you take all that pressure away. So I guess, who's your ideal client? Who's the people that you have a lot of fun with when you work with generally?
My ideal clients they tend to be clients that come to me and say, I just don't know how I'm going to get this done. I really want this dream home, or I really want to achieve X with my property, and I need some help. And that for me, that's the job satisfaction for me. Is yes, there's a bricks and mortar element, and I design kitchens and bathrooms too, and I love designing kitchens and bathrooms. But the job satisfaction all comes from making the clients happy. It's seeing their joy at the end of the process. That's what I really enjoy.
I think it's utilising experience and expertise to probably do two key things. We're in the middle of St Albans right now. You can hear that. Gotta love it. Two key things I see is one is obviously you're doing expertise to save time,
Yeah.
right? Money.
Yeah.
Actually, three, a lot of headaches.
Yeah, and
I
also
think big things.
expertise.
Yeah, of
there's
course.
so many trades around, and it's very difficult. You're right. I mean, the money side of things, yes, absolutely, you can save money if you know where to go and what
planning,
suppliers
isn't it?
to
And
work
making
with. It's the planning, it's the scheduling. It's scheduling
Yeah,
teams so that
huge.
they all work in the right
Huge.
sequence. But it's having the contacts of tradespeople that are going to do a quality job and work well as a team.
I think the key thing is what you just said about the expertise, being able to do that,
Yeah.
being a safe pair of hands.
Yeah.
And I think this is becoming more and more important, especially as you got up the scale on projects. So when people have GDV, which is gross development value for anyone who doesn't understand, is on the projects that they're growing, this is what people want to
Yeah.
know, don't they? If I'm doing a few £1 million project, have I got the time to do all this? Do I have to concentrate on this? Is it better to get someone to do it and do it in expertise ways because they know how to talk to people, manage stakeholders, get the stuff over the line, right?
Exactly.
Huge value. So Debbie this month is going to be having a lot of value because she's going to be helping a lot of entrepreneurs in the event. Debbie, so thankful for you giving us a few minutes
No
of your time.
problem at all.
Thank
Nice
you so
to meet
much.
you.
Gotta love St Albans Property Meet. Hi everyone, we've got the esteemed gentleman here called Alistair. Hi Alistair.
Evening Z, how are you doing?
I'm alright. Alistair has unbelievable knowledge around our fun of planning and regulations, and he did a piece before which went absolutely viral, so I'm asking him some questions today, or trying to ask some questions today. The world has changed a lot since last time we spoke.
Indeed, yeah, we've got a new government and they've got this supposedly exciting new agenda to build all these houses that no one else has managed to before, so let's see how that goes.
I guess they're saying 1.5 million additional or total. The word's different depending who you speak to. What do you think they're actually going to do that's going to make a difference, and what have you heard?
I think they're going to struggle, to be honest. I mean, all this talk of reforming the planning system, there's no doubt about it needs reforming, we all know that. But how are you going to reform it? By recruiting this magic 300 new planning officers, which, mind you, there's 350 odd planning authorities in Britain, so it's less than one per authority. And where are these magic 300 people? Where are these 300 people that are fully qualified? It takes 7 years to become a planning officer, and they're all sitting at home doing nothing apparently. So let's see how that one goes.
I guess the other question is, what are they actually going to reform apart from having more planning officers? What are they going to allow? How are they going to cut this red tape, which is absolutely annoying loads of people?
Well, I don't think they're going to. I mean, by employing more planning officers, you're employing more people to follow the same processes you've already got intrinsically. So not a lot's going to change. What you need to change is the culture of anti-development, and you won't change that by retaining all the existing people you've got in the system. You'd have to have root and branch reform.
Alistair, that's a really good point, and I think a lot of people don't realise there's structural problems. But I guess they've got a strategy on certain sites, brownfield or things like this. Have you got a bit more insight around where they are proposing these houses are?
Well, we've got this wonderful new term, which is a bit ambiguous, called greyfield now. So
what's it called?
Greyfield.
Greyfield.
So we haven't got brownfield, we haven't got greenfield or green belt, but we've now got greyfield. Well, I can see where they're coming from. They basically want to reform some of the light industrial, ex-industrial sites that are already close to good transport.
Is that the colour grey, as in greyfield?
Well, I think so. I think the idea is it's not really ripe for residential development yet, but it could be given the right incentives. But the trouble is you've got to give the developers the incentive to develop. And at the moment, they're developing products which they can't sell or they don't perceive as a market to sell. So unless you're going to build for public ownership, and that's really the only way forward, and they haven't really had a great deal to say on that, where are they going to raise the money?
I think, Alistair, I looked at a really interesting stat. I watched the trend from the 1950s to now about property in development investment from the public sector and the private sector. The public sector used to do loads, but since Thatcher, now we're feeling it. No disrespect to anyone who loves Thatcher, the last 40 years we've done nothing, and that is because they actively stopped investing, and now we're feeling the pain. This isn't overnight. This isn't because we've got loads of people jumping on the boats coming over. It's because we haven't invested for 40 years. You can see the numbers, and the private sector is not being incentivized to do it. So it's reducing as well. So you've got public sector hardly doing anything. Private they're not going to remedy this, are they?
No.
They've got a magic formula. Good old Rachel, I know she's going to be watching our stuff. Has he got a magic formula?
No, not really. I mean, they're going to have to start investing directly or just subcontracting contractors to build for the public sector. That's the only way forward. And yet there's no talk of that. I mean, they could raise the money tomorrow. Why don't they issue a long-term housing bond, paying something like, say, a 4% coupon for life, something like the old war bonds? People would be queuing up to put the money in tomorrow. Even with current building costs, you can build a 900 square foot 3-bed semi for about 130, 140,000.
Wow.
At 4%, that would cost the state 5,600 a year tops. At the moment, they're spending 24,000 a year to put that same family in housing benefit in the private sector. They're not talking about reducing that. That's where they need to refocus the resources they already have.
I think we have got a new elected member of parliament, Alistair. He needs to be employed, because what he just said in the last 30 seconds, I've not heard it from none of them. And they have got no new ideas, have they, really?
No, not really.
They're just blagging it, aren't they?
They're tinkering.
Sorry, Rachel and co. Sorry. Okay, Starmer, sorry. You're not telling us the truth, and this is the problem.
And it's a really missed opportunity, because I was actually quite hopeful they would come together with a whole new agenda, not just a sort of slight return of the past.
But do you on this point, sorry to interrupt, do you not think they've got to do the more tax incentives? Because everywhere where I've seen they're building loads of houses, like America and places like that, right? They incentivize the developers here and investors who hold the property. Here we are ostracizing all of these people. And I'm like, how is this making sense? The banks aren't going to do it. And this is a person who is an ex-banker telling you, they aren't going to do it. They're just going to hold property, increase rent in the longer term, and we're promoting more of this. I don't understand what's going on.
No,
do you?
Neither do I. Neither do I. I mean, how you can stimulate the development market and then withdraw all the first-time buyer stamp duty incentives at the same time, I find a complete juxtaposition, really. I just find it bizarre. So you're going to encourage developers to build houses, which first-time buyers are now going to have to find another 6,500 up front to fund. I mean, it just doesn't add up, does it?
I think a lot of stuff, and I think the other thing, the MDR is affected a lot of parents who wanted to get their child on the thing. They used to buy transaction property, and because they're connected, and when they buy it, it became a linked transaction, and we had MDR to sort that out. That's multiple telling me we're not going to get that. So mum and dad goes and buys, say he's got 2 children, they go to one developer and say, look, we buy the 2, so you both, the brother and sister, live there. They're going to get hammered just by doing that.
It's the same as all the carrying on the attacking landlords agenda.
Yeah.
It plays to generation rent, but actually it'll end up shooting generation rent in the foot.
It's
'Cause
done
all
it already.
It's done it already, but it's even going to get worse.
It's going to
isn't
get
it?
worse. I think
Anyway.
people don't think longer.
No.
I know we've been quite negative. There is a lot of aspects, but we have to cover all this and get them off here. Albans Property Meet gets a huge amount of diversity and mindset of people, and it covers a lot of areas. Alistair, you're a star.
Oh, we're always positive,
Thank
despite
you.
what the government might throw at us.
Perfect, thank you.
Thank you, Z. Pleasure as ever.
Hi everyone, as you well know, Albans Property Meet, August 2024. Got the year and the month right this time. Got Julie here. Julie, thank you so much.
Hi, Z.
And Julie has a lot and go through with Julie today because there's been so much has been happening since last time we spoke. We had a new government
Yeah.
trying to change the whole world. We've been talking about it earlier with a few different people. What's the lowdown on? You told me the right word, I'm going to get it right. It's not the renter reform bill, it's the renters' right bill.
Absolutely. So the new Labour government want to bring in the Renters' Rights Bill. Now, from what I've seen in the King's speech, which obviously gave us a lot more details from what we'd heard in the manifesto, it isn't actually too dissimilar from the Renters' Reform Bill. So all of those scary things we were expecting actually aren't in there. So we're seeing a lot of things that we'd already seen, abolishment of Section 21, we knew that was coming. But the thing that most people are talking about at the moment is the worry that they're never going to be able to get their property back. They can't evict a tenant for 2 years. That's not true, and I don't really know where that's come from in the media. The most important thing to understand is that
Just
Angela
clarify
Rayner...
on
yes, sorry.
that one. Now, really good value because I've had my phone non-stop ringing saying we're leaving to Dubai and I have to probably open one out there now at Grant's practice. Not being serious on it. This 2-year rule, there's been a lot of media has talked about this. What they stated, and I will be corrected because Julie's the lady in the know in this, right? 2 years. One, that if you got an AST, right, and it's no longer 6 months, it's 2 years. Going to be the period, right? And in those 2 years, according to all the reports coming out, and they may not be correct, that you can't evict someone during that 2 years. You can't even sell the property within the 2 years. That's what's been talked about. Can you tell the truth now to everybody what it really means?
Well, I don't know if it's the truth, but it is all I can say is what I've read in the King's speech, because at the moment the Renters' Rights Bill hasn't been published, so we
Got it.
don't know detail.
Got it.
But what we saw in the King's speech was Labour is talking about keeping fixed-term tenancies, whereas before in the Renters' Reform Bill it was going to be periodic from day one. But I really don't know where this 2-year point has come from. Now, the only thing I can think of is the fact that Labour was talking about when a landlord wants to sell a property, then if they decide not to sell and the tenant's already moved out, they can't re-let the property for 2 years. That's the only 2-year limit I have heard of and seen in the King's speech.
Sorry, clarify that point. So when they're renting to someone, if the person's moved out,
So if they've evicted the tenant, if they've
Yeah.
given them the alternative to a Section 21, which is going to be the new Ground 1A,
yeah,
if they've given them the Ground 1A notice because they want to evict because they want to sell,
yeah,
if they then change their mind and don't sell,
yeah.
they cannot re-let it for 2 years.
Wow.
That's what Labour want to bring in.
Got
Prior to
it.
that, in the Renters' Reform Bill, a landlord is not allowed to re-let for 3 months. Labour want to change that to 2 years. Now, I am doubtful that will get through, simply because things like that will go through at committee stage and be talked about, and it will be an amendment. An amendment has to be voted on, and a vote has to get the most votes to be passed through. A lot of the Conservatives aren't going to allow that to go through, and certainly the Liberal Democrats aren't going to back that.
But-
so I'd be surprised if Labour get that through.
But Labour got a huge majority, right? And old Keir Starmer, PM, he knows how to use the whip, doesn't he? Literally.
He does, but the beauty about putting a bill through Parliament is it has to have cross-party support. So just because Labour have a majority doesn't mean they're going to get that cross-party support. You've got all the other parties that have to vote to agree that amendment before that amendment can be put into the bill.
But isn't it done on a majority though?
It is done on a majority.
So if they've got the majority, they don't really need cross-party.
They have to have it before it will go through. They have to have it.
Right, okay, interesting. But it's quite interesting what you've said about this 2 year, because this is driving a lot of people really worried, and that, so there's been Do you think they've done the classic to put it into the mainstream press because everyone's talking about it, to see if does it hold up and if how it goes, and depending how people react, because they've done a lot of this recently.
Yeah.
They put it into the press, people look at it, and then afterwards, oh, no one seems to be annoyed with it, let's put it in. Oh, if there's too many people annoyed with it, we'll change it down a bit. Have they tried?
I think they are using the media as a sounding board, absolutely. And I think they're using it more to see if they're going to get the support they want from their voting public.
Wow.
Now, what we've seen in the past is the government be quite influenced by the tenant activist groups, which basically want to eradicate the private rented sector and have everybody either in social accommodation or owning their own property, which is unrealistic. We're never going to see that.
No, I'm going to start something quite controversial. Who are these clowns?
So there are organisations such as Generation Rent, Acorn, those sort of people.
Are you sure they're not lobbying for the banks? Because do they know the banks are owning loads of stuff? Oh my God, it's crazy, isn't it? It's
So
crazy.
the Renters' Rights Bill isn't going to be as scary as the media are making it out, because ultimately, with the media, only the scary stories sell, the good stories don't. So they're going to be harping on that. And also we have a rhetoric at the moment which is all landlords are multimillionaires sitting on yachts, just, putting the rent up to spite the poor tenants. So we have a lot of that in the media as well, which we all know isn't true.
Do you know what? That is probably, few people will probably more relaxed after that. I think they're still maybe jumping on the plane to Dubai, but maybe not as quick. Right, Julie, thank you so much. Julie's going to be on our podcast, just mentioned that. And that's going to be huge value. And if we have more updates, we'll be having a long chinwag about that. So huge value. And obviously, you can't beat St. Albans Property Meet. So I hope you come to us next time.